You learned already a lot about the pre-targeting, your formula, the perfect fan, about ponds, and now we're gonna start the good stuff. We're gonna actually, setting up our targeting, okay? We just talked about ponds, and I need you to download, print, and use the worksheet interest layers, and you'll see this funnel, okay? It's not like the marketing funnel of awareness, trust, and sale, but it's an interest funnel or an interest layer, okay? Now, the top one. You see the word big pond over there. The big pond would be hip hop music. And on the right, you see what kind of interest and keywords you could use to target that, pond on the left, that audience. So if we talk about hip hop music, we could say fans of rap, fans of hip hop, certain rap artists we could target. All right? So this is what we talked about earlier, okay? But what I also said earlier is that we're not gonna do it like that. For starters, we could say golden era hip hop. And we could target an audience like that by targeting 90s rap artists, record labels from the 90s, maybe some cool 90s brands and TV shows, that music was featured well there. So that is one way to target it, and it's still a big pond. But let's make it more interesting, because we're not using just only one targeting, but let's have a look at the formula and the perfect fan. So when we have a look at the formula we created earlier, I'm gonna look for other ponds I could use, and not just a music pond. It could be a pond about fast food, fast fashion, gaming, sport. So let's have a look. I may create for conscious and creative young professionals. Creative could be the pond we would like to find, walking the extra mile, find another pond. Maybe that creative pond could be a good one. Let's have a look. Warmth, warm sounds, golden era hip hop. We already have a pond like that, of course. Provocative lyrics could be something. Certain types of media, perhaps, that are provocative as well. Jazz tunes, so jazzy music could be. Let's have a look at the perfect fan. I see, Vice magazine is nice. That Vice is kind of provocative, so that's kind of in correlation. We see the creative industries, so you're creative again. Brands, we see Vans, Supreme. We see Elon Musk. We see, brewing own beer. It could be, but not too sure about that one. Okay, so let's say I'd like to add 2 ponds, and I decide that the creative industry, like a creative pond, that's one. And in the description, he calls himself a hype beast, and he likes to flash his streetwear. Streetwear, fashion, clothing, hip hop, that's relevant to one each other. So, okay, so I'm gonna create a creative pond. So this is a big pond, the first pond, the creative/art industry. And now I need to know how I can target that industry. Well, we saw in the perfect fan Adobe Suite, Wacom, but maybe also artists like Banksy, street art, maybe tattoo art, maybe tattoos, hip hop and tattoos, they go along. Maybe websites like Etsy, it's for art, for artists to sell their stuff on. So you come up with a new pond, and not just any pond. I mean, you're gonna have a look at your the formula and the perfect fan. You come up with, let's say, a minimum of 2 new ponds next to your most obvious one. That is specific already, so not hip hop, but no, golden era, 90s hip hop. But that is kind of obvious, right? But next to that one, I want you to find 2 other ponds by looking at your formula worksheet and the perfect fan worksheet. So this is one. Now the other one, let's say streetwear and fashion. Okay, cool. So how could I, reach an audience like that? We saw Vans, Supreme, A Bathing Ape is a brand. Hypebeast is a really big magazine about fashion, about streetwear. In Gold We Trust is a awesome streetwear brand, which I like. So you could, you set up your targeting, your interests by, using brands, magazines, those kind of stuff, okay? So we have another pond as well. So we have the creative pond and a streetwear/fashion pond. But here's the thing. In that streetwear/fashion pond, or in that creative pond, but let's stick to streetwear for now. I mean, probably a lot of fish that won't bite to our normal bait, or the wrong fish maybe. Probably some people that are really into rock music are in there as well. Now, not saying that people that are into rock music can't be listening hip hop, because I'm that person that does both. But you kind of want to fix that right bait for that right fish to bite. Okay, so in that pond called streetwear, we need to find those particular right fish. And that's why in our targeting, we're going to add another layer. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to fish in that pond called streetwear fashion, but actually only the people inside that pond, or the fish in that pond, the people inside that audience that are into the golden era hip hop, which we will be targeting by 90s rap artists, record labels, etc., those are the people, those are the fish I'd like to catch. Okay, and that is actually how good targeting works. Instead of just using the upper layer, the big one, the big pond, where all those thousands of fishermen are fishing for the last few fish. No. We find another pond, the streetwear pond. But, of course, inside that pond, inside that audience, we only need the ones that are into our music. Now, we could add a third layer. And, we had the big pond, and the second one is the targeting bait, and then the third one is audience trends, and it's optional, as you can see. Maybe in that hip-hop, you're like, well, Tidal, I think it's really important that my music has the best quality when you listen to it. So I only want Tidal users to see it, because I want people to listen to my music on Tidal. You could say Tidal user. So in that case, it will be like, okay, I'm fishing in a streetwear fashion pond, but I only want to catch the fish, the people that are into golden era hip hop. And those fish, those people that are into golden era hip hop, only the ones that use Tidal. And that's why this is a funnel, because your reach gets smaller, right? Of course, if you fish in the big pond streetwear fashion, you got a lot of reach. But then we only want the golden era ones, so it's smaller. And then also the Tidal ones, so it gets even more smaller. And that's why this is also funnel shaped. Now, this third one, I wouldn't be using this too much because it gets a bit too specific. Okay? So I would just stick with the two. Find the big pond and put on the good bait to fish in that pond to find only the ones that are into your music. So what I want you to do right now is to print this worksheet 3 times. And the first one, you're allowed to put in only the top one, the obvious one, but please, specific, no hip-hop, subgenre, no dance, subgenre, no rock music, subgenre. But then the other 2 versions of the sheet, please find another pond by looking at the formula and the perfect fan worksheet. Fill into, the main ponds, the big ponds there, and then with the targeting bait in the second one. Next video, we're gonna dive in Facebook Business Manager.